Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim and our topic today is the Tusenö Shellback version 2. And I had the version 1 of this dive watch from Sweden here in the studio, checked it out, made quite an impression, but I was not overly excited, I remember. But in the last weeks I noticed that the version 2 is coming of the Shellback dive watch, and I noticed that in forums people were very positive about the specs and about their long-time experiences with the version 1. And then Alexander from Tusenö contacted me and asked me if I wanted to review that version 2, and of course I said yes. And that's an important experience I made with watch brands, especially micro brands, but that very often version 2 is really an improvement. It's much better than version 1. I mean, think of other fields like films, movies, cars, guitars. Often you see then version 2 and you think, oops, what went wrong there? But with watch brands, very often you have something really improved and enhanced. And so again, I said yes, and the watch here is on the wrist. I will show you every detail in the light box in a second. But first the question, what means shellback? I had to look it up and I found that it refers to a turtle, and a shellback is a person, a sailor, experienced sailor who passes the equator, not in that Boeing, in the ship, really passes that equator, and then he or she can call himself a shellback. And to give you a rough idea where we are here, we are a smidgen under the 700 mark, all right? So we're solid in the middle tier here. And now let's go into the light box, let's check it out. So we have a case diameter of 40 millimeters, length here is 47, lug width 20, and the height including the crystal is indicated with 13 millimeters. We have a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, a bezel 120 click, unidirectional, ceramic insert, loom markers here, so very high quality, and inside we find the Sellita SW200 automatic movement. And as you can see, this is the date version. There is also a version without a date, but I really like the way they've implemented here the date. It's very subtle, it's very functional, so absolutely undisturbed impression, at least in my eyes. And this watch here is waterproof up to 200 meters, so really a piece of equipment. And now let's begin with the dial. I opted here for the blue dial because I really like the color in general, and I like this impression here it makes. And this is a so-called sandwich dial, which means you find two layers here, as you can see there, I think. Two layers which create a bit of more, let's say, depth and lots of details, more reflections in a good way, not distraction reflections, just a deeper impression here. Very nice blue also, by the way. You see this here, very nice blue, doesn't look cheap, doesn't look super tacky, it's just the right amount of saturation here in my eyes. And of course the thing is legible as hell because we are in the genre tool watch, clearly in the genre dive watch, and you have large indices here, large amounts of lume as you see, so absolutely no problem to use this thing as equipment. This is underlined by the brushed case. Here you have the brushed case, some bit of high polishing going on here. Bit of high polishing, then the bracelet also brushed, relatively simple. More of that later. First let's check out the functionality now. We have a screw down crown, mandatory for this type of watch with that water resistance I think. And the Sellita is hand wound, or you can hand wind it, it's an automatic movement as said. Position 1 now is for the date, but first let's move the hands out of the way. So position 1, come on, is for the date. There you go. Works fine. And position 2 then to set the time. Let's see how the date is changing. There you go, very precise. So nothing to complain here. Let's close it again, also works very nice. I always pay some attention to the crown winding mechanism here, because often you have something scratchy or even a crown which is a smidgen misaligned, so that you have a hard time to screw it down, but here works very nice. And what I really love here is the sound. This might be a bit quirky, the sound of the bezel. So good. You really hear the tension inside. That little bar that makes this clicking sound is just a pleasure. just a pleasure, and it aligns well. There you go. And so everything's fine here. Now to the bracelet here, fairly simple, blocky, big clasp. There you have the logo. There you see it open, there's the Tusenö. You have this quick adjustment mechanism inside. That little button here, this hinge type of thing, which you can push. And then you have some sort of a quick set, or you can call it a diver extension as well. It's very simple to manipulate. It's a very nice feature. But, here's the case back. Let me show the case back. But I must say, I find this bracelet is the weak spot of the watch, because if you see the dial, then it's a bit like a digital image which you can enlarge, and then you find new layers. You find details over details over details, and it's very nice to look at. And then the bracelet compared to that is relatively simple. And you can say now, well, it's just a tooly thing to carry the watch. Why shouldn't it be simple? But my problem is that for this genre, the bracelet is just an integral part of the watch. So I'd love to see here a bit more refinement. And a real minus is the thing is razor sharp. All these edges here are razor sharp. You really can't scratch something with that. Also the clasp here, these edges are razor sharp. You really can't scratch furniture. You can't fray shirts and pants. And so I think this is a bit of a shame. So yeah, not super happy with that bracelet. So if this was my watch, I would polish this a bit with Cape Cod just to break these edges a bit. But now I'd like to go briefly over the alterations, and you find them all online, link in the description in full detail. But I just wanted to point out some aspects here. So check out the minute track here. The 5-minute markers are a bit more dominant, so that the thing is more legible or usable, let's say. And then the hands are a bit overworked. There's more loom, so even toolier. This little window there is again there. I think this is a smidgen bigger, if I recall correctly. And also the loom on the bezel is improved, and you have some technical improvements behind the crown, for example. This design here is unchanged, but they wrote that there are some internal changes which make the watch even more usable and more durable in rough condition. And you can wear this watch also with some rubber straps. I mean, of course you can wear it also with leather, but they sent me these samples here, these strap samples. Let me arrange this like that. So you can have a matching blue strap here, or you can go with a red strap. Oh, this is pretty loud, right? That's interesting to look at. It's a bit too loud for me. And I'm not the fan of matching straps, to be honest, of these rubber straps. So I would combine this with this metal bracelet, or with a black tropical rubber strap, or I would just put it on leather for the colder seasons, and then you're good to go. But now let's put it on the wrist. And there you go, 17 centimeter wrist, 40 millimeter watch head, for me clearly on the bigger side. By the way, one viewer asked me if I've measured my wrist on the bone or a bit up, and I've measured this part here, although I wear the watch mostly under the bone. So this bone section here might be 17 and a half, 17.4, that in that region. And now one word about availability. You can pre-order the watch right now, and shipping will take place in summer, and the exact price is 699 euros or 649 US dollars. So, and that's all about the Shellback. I'm very curious about their next watches, to be honest, because there you see really development, and I'm excited to see that progress. And now let me show you an interesting image sent by Fergal, longtime viewer from Ireland. He wrote me, "Happy New Year to you, and I hope you're well." Well, sort of. I just received my first watch of 2024, which I hope you will find interesting. It's a Zenith, man. Zenith is the German version and Zenith the international. So let's stick to Zenith. It's a Zenith dive watch from, I believe, the early 90s and a transitional model, while Zenith worked on and finalized their in-house elite caliber. Mine has a top-grade ETA 2892-2, so Zenith were able to make a compact and very thin dive watch, something I've been after for a while. It's a 37mm case and about 10 or 11mm thick. Lovely wear so far. Keep up the good work and best wishes, Fergal. From Ireland, thank you very much, my friend, for this image here. I had a Elite Zenith one time, but I remember it clearly as a pure dress watch. Fascinating, but I flipped it sort of and to make some money, to be honest, a long time ago. And then I was sneaking around, I think some weeks ago, around another Zenith. This is the Primero with the rotor removed, so they turned this fabulous movement into a hand-wound movement to reduce the thickness. And this was a fascinating, good-looking flat watch, and they go around 2,000 euros, but very often in not so good shape because they're from the 90s as well. Okay, so if you want to share your images with me and with the audience here, then feel free to send wrist shots and other sites you find interesting to Caseback Watches at iCloud.com. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for your attention, and until next time.